There are a range of Web 2.0 innovations that are colliding to create a new world of news, or what I'd crudely call News 2.0. The rise of blogging is one of the things that's cited here. Now, if you park for one moment blogs which are focused just about people telling mundane trivia of their lives, of which there is nothing wrong, I should add, and you start to see what you often see is much closer to journalism than either side in a rather contrived blogging versus journalism debate would admit. If you say the two pillars of journalism are original reporting and informed comment, we have to accept there are hundreds or thousands of blogs that fit that bill. In some case, it's a little rough round the edges, but the essence of journalism is there. On all of the sites I've listed here, and dozens more, are doing great work in their areas. If you work in my field, in digital publishing, you have to read Rafat Ali's paidcontent.org, and you should be reading Scott Carr, Publishing 2.0, or Jeff Jarvis's Buzz Machine. If you follow the cut and thrust of British politics, you'll get a lot from reading Guido Fawkes' blog. If you're a US Liberal or Democrat, you'll want to read the Huffington Post. The list goes on. And I think the shift here is not about blogging versus journalism. It's a dramatic shift in the sheer volume of news sources available to us, and therefore the need for tools that improve the way that people find and engage with news and information. And we see this on all sorts of sites that are cropping up. This is Newsvine, which calls itself a social collaborative news venture, allows people to link to stories and talk about them. You can see it on Daylife, which does fantastic aggregation, automatically pulls in clusters of stories from around the web and links them to other cluster-related stories. For example, if you go there today, you'll find a cluster of stories about the Greek forest fires, and then that links to another cluster of stories about George Papandreou, all done automatically. It's really, really smart. You can also see it in this from the News Now Public, which is a Canadian venture, recently received about $10 million of funding, has tens of thousands of amateur citizen reporters from around the world covering news about their area or special interest. I should say they're fantastically good at covering extreme weather. They normally always have someone who is literally within the eye of the storm with a camera, and it's a great thing. And then the other thing, this was something I just spotted yesterday. Now, this is Newsgator, who do sort of also do aggregation and RSS services, have suddenly built an application that goes into Facebook. So suddenly this site, which was designed to let people, put up their drunken adventures on a Saturday night, is becoming a possible source and destination for news. And the question you have to ask on this is, where do we fit with oil? Now, if I could start from scratch, if I had a blank sheet, I'd actually build a service like one of those above. If I was doing a startup, that's what I'd do. And in fact, over time, The Guardian, as we get round to it, will feature many of the elements that we've just seen. But we're not working from a blank sheet of paper. We're not sitting in an office in Seattle or Silicon Valley with a handful of super smart graduates plotting the next big thing. We are dealing with the evolution of organizations that are committed to journalism, that survive on the reputation of telling people what's happening in the world every day of the year accurately and fairly. And that bring a worldview, or I should say here, zeitgeist, to the breakfast table, to the train ride, and to the desktop. And none of these organizations are really doing this. And the point is, the people on Newsvine need to link to something to talk about. People on Daylife, Newsgator, and on a much greater scale, Google News need something to aggregate. The eyewitness accounts you read on Now Public are often compelling in their own right, but they need the other asset we bring, the skill of editing, to take all that individual stories and turn them into the story. People say that news has become a commodity. I think this is a remarkably simplistic and bleak view of the world. Yes, breaking headlines, the bare bones reporting facts of what's happened right this second has been commoditized as wire copy from Reuters and AP has been made widely available to the public right across the net. But original reporting, telling the stories that others have missed or ignored, incisive, informed comment has never been more rare or more important. And it's even more so when you're doing this across a massive range of